All right, and we are live for our very first test.
Excellent. I'm excited
Mhm.
and looking forward to seeing how this goes. I'm looking forward to Tuesday. We're going to have a very special Tuesday show with a special guest. But before we do that, thought we would kick things off with a little demo just to see how it's all working and get a chance for Skylar and I to talk a little bit.
That's the deal. Perfect.
How's your day going, Skylar?
My day is wonderful. It is
Excellent.
90 degrees outside,
It is. It
so
sure
I'm
is.
happy to be
And
indoors.
I'm inside the air conditioned vehicle at the moment, but I'm right outside of my kids' soccer practice, which that's what's happening this Friday evening, and I got to keep an eye on them because it's kind of warm, it's kind of hot, and the coach is a good coach. He's going to watch out for them, make sure they stay safe, but you know, just got to look for those signs of fatigue. Um, Make sure they're drinking plenty of water, all that good stuff. So
Definitely.
yeah,
Super important, especially with school just starting this week, too.
exactly, exactly. All right, so I
All
see
right,
we
cool.
have our own chat and we have comments available on the right so we can see if people drop in comments. But yeah, what do you have in mind for us today for our little practice conversation?
I just tested it out, and we're live on both YouTube and Facebook. I can see us there on both, so that is the main exciting piece there.
Cool.
Um, yeah, and everything seems to be going the way we need it to.
Awesome. Um, I didn't know if you wanted to do the kind of Q&A style interview
Mm-hmm.
questions that you had in mind.
Yes,
We could
it
run through a few
was
of those.
definitely one moment. Sorry, it's running a little slow on my end with both of these open. All right. So we had a couple of questions in a video series that we were going to run through. Let's just start out with the best advice you have ever received.
Oh, I can talk about that, no doubt. Um, And while I'm doing that, I'm just going to, while I stall and give myself some time to think about that and uh, answer that question, um, let me share with you. Oh, I see what I was thinking about. Let me just grab this and I'm going to put it in the chat, in a private chat here. So this is what I was thinking about, Skylar. But while you're taking a look at that, in the meantime, uh, the best advice I was ever given. Hmm. Hmm. It's hard. I feel like we all have advice that we need at different kind of seasons of our life. Um, I would say for me right now, um, the best advice that I've been given lately is about the importance of having a strong relationship with yourself and really understanding and knowing yourself uh, as a person. And that, like any other relationship you have in your life, that relationship also takes care and energy and attention and intention and all of those things. So I'd say for me at this moment in my life, in this season of my life, I think that's an important one.
Definitely. It's good reminder, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I'd love to just talk really quickly about the background story of Revel and kind of how you landed where you are today. How you came to be an accountant for creatives.
Sure. So I have, creativity goes back in my family to my parents. Both my parents are musicians. So they actually met at the Academy of Music in Warsaw, Poland, where I was born, not at the school, but in the country. I was born in Poland. And so music and art and creativity in that way was a part of my childhood growing up. My mom tried to teach me violin. She taught violin and viola. If anyone out there in the universe has ever had their mom as or any parent really as a teacher of, I don't know, school in the classroom or any kind of instrument or sport, I feel for you. That was a challenging period of time. It didn't go very well, to just tell you the total truth. But I still, even though I didn't, that we didn't vibe with the violin lessons, music was a part of my life growing up. I played a lot of different instruments. In college, I started out school as a theater major, my freshman and sophomore year. It wasn't until junior year that I started a double major in accounting. And so I did accounting, did a master's, spent a little bit of time in the Big Four at PwC, and then broke off to do my own thing. I realized pretty quickly that the Big Four scene was not going to be my vibe, and instead, I broke off very young, very early, and started my own practice. Originally, working with really anybody, and businesses of all kinds, and over time, it just so happened that the majority of the clients I was working with were folks in creative and entertainment industries. And probably had a lot to do with like the circles that I ran in at that time in Chicago. And a lot of folks in music and film and fashion and whatnot. So through those relationships and other people I was meeting, I ended up with a lot of clients in that space. And that's how I initially became an accountant for creatives before it was cool to do so. I'll try to claim that. Now I think there's a lot of folks doing accounting for creatives, and I think that's awesome. I really do. I think, part of what drew me to doing it in the first place is it was a hugely underserved market and community. And if the world of business and taxes is challenging for the average person to understand, for just like Joe business owner, I think it's especially difficult for folks in creative spaces to navigate those worlds, and they just need a fair shot. Like they need a fighting chance. So that's what drew me to it originally, and now with Revel, I think we stand at a moment in time in this world and certainly in this country where we could probably stand to open up our hearts and minds a little bit. And I think that really storytelling has more of an opportunity to do that than anything else. I think that's probably where you get the most impact on opening people's hearts and minds and helping us understand what it's like to walk a mile in someone else's shoes. And so creatives are kind of at the heart of storytelling. And if what we get to do at Revel supports them and what they get to do out there in the world, it just means that everything we're doing is that much more meaningful. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, that's my story. Did I miss anything? I feel like that was pretty comprehensive.
That was really good overview.
Good.
Tied everything together in a bow.
Good.
You did speak a lot about creatives. There is a wide range of who that could be, who falls underneath that umbrella and bucket. Would you be able to speak a little bit more about what a creative is within Revel CPA, and who are the ideal clients that you typically work with?
Yeah. So, I think like a lot of identities, if someone self-identifies as a creative entrepreneur, groovy. I say let's talk. There are certainly industries where I would say it's a lot more common for us to work with folks in those spaces, and therefore have a lot more experience and background and understanding the business models, the types of people that work there, the typical kinds of things we see in contracts and whatnot. So we do work with folks in kind of core entertainment space. So we've had a lot of experience over the years in music, whether that's working with bands, record labels, in fashion with individual designers, in film, TV, especially like film production studios, those kinds of outfits, distribution, licensing, and then film, TV, music, the kind of core entertainment, and then more broadly creatives, including photographers and videographers, web design and development, software design and development. We've got people who are authors. We have influencers and personalities, consulting shops, marketing and branding and design agencies. And so it can really be anybody who thinks a little more on the creative side of the brain than the other. And we often act as a great translator between the two, right? So to try to help folks who operate a little more creatively with understanding the world of taxes. So it is a wide range. It's a really wide range. Did I miss anything, Skylar? You know who we work with.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think so. I mean, there is a wide range there. And like you said, I mean, if you self-identify as a creative, we want to talk to you. So
yeah, that's right.
Perfect. I think those are kind of the main two questions that I wanted to ask you today. We can keep diving in if you have time. I know you're at the soccer field at the moment.
What else do you want to know? I'll give you one more question.
One more question. All right.
Anything. Oh man, now I just got nervous about letting you ask anything you want.
Better make it a good one.
I'll answer truthfully.
Let's see here. Is there something aside from Revel, something a little more personal about Martin?
Yeah, what do you want to know?
Yeah, I mean, I think what would be, we heard about your violin viola debacle and that whole world. What other hobbies are you taking on right now? Like, what is unique about Martin that, people may not know about you separate from the accounting side?
Sure. Right. I am an accountant, but what else do I do other than that in my life? Well, I have an amazing wife and 3 incredible kiddos. And so really a lot of what I'm doing and building every day is for them, both in the business, like in the traditional, trying to support us and our family and help grow something for them, but also in what we do with our business, because I'm also really trying to use Revel as a tool to help make the world better place for folks to operate and run businesses in, particularly women, people of color, non-binary folks in the LGBTQ community. So when we get to work with business owners in any of those groups and at every intersection thereof, that's especially cool. So my family, that's probably number one. But I also do stuff for fun, for sure. Like to ride my Harley around. Get to do that sometimes to and from work, but also just rip around on the weekends a little bit. I like to get outside and do, go camping, even do a little fishing now and then. I have recently taken up the fine art of pizza making, to varying degrees of success. I'll be totally honest. Yesterday's outing, we have pizza. Like pizza is Thursday night at our house, and yesterday I got creamed by the pizza. It just destroyed me.
Oh no.
But yeah, I only had one usable pizza out of 3 tries, which was my worst outing so far. But I learned a lot. So what always happens, you always learn a lot in any time you get beaten down. So I'm going to come back strong next time, and did a bunch more reading and a bunch more YouTube watching, and get back in the ring. So, and I also love woodworking. That was kind of a recent, that was a 2020 COVID hobby that I and thousands of other people in the country decided to take up as we all like drove up the cost of lumber nationwide. I'm sorry. To any of you who are like, I'm now trying to also remodel our house and can't find a reasonable budget for that same reason. So woodworking, I like, and also, whiskey and coffee and playing music. I do, I never really went too far with the violin or viola, but I do play, I kind of self-taught a little bit on piano. I play a lot of different things with strings, like guitars and basses and mandolins and even this instrument that me and my friend invented called a Mandalay. So a cross between a mandolin and a ukulele. And yeah, so those are a few of my fun pursuits in the time when I'm not crunching numbers and looking at spreadsheets and reports and giving advice, consulting meetings. Yeah.
I'm very curious about this Mandalay. I need to see what this looks like at some point.
It's amazing. There are only 2 ever created in existence.
Iconic.
And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I got to steal one back because I let him borrow it for a while. So it's time for it to come back to my house. Yeah.
The Sisterhood of the Traveling Mandalay or whatever.
Indeed. I'll tell you this too. If I had to pick like one, I think my true happy place in life is, sometimes I feel like it's on a beach, warm sand, cocktail, ocean waves, peace and quiet. I think that especially when it's the wintertime in the Midwest, here in Chicago in particular, because those winters are brutal and you just want to get there, which is the opposite of what life is like in the winter in Chicago. But if I had to tell you my true happy place in the world, it would be up north in the as we call it up there, up north. And somewhere on a lake, probably on a boat, cruising around, pine trees everywhere, fresh air, and I think that is my dream destination that we're I'm building and growing towards. So someday I'll be spending a lot more time in that kind of situation. But for now, we revel, and I'm having a blast with it. This has been cool, testing this out.
Has been. Yeah.
Thanks for asking some great questions. And
thank you for jumping on.
If anybody is catching this after the fact, and you're wanting to know why we're doing this, we're going to have a special guest on with us on Tuesday morning. And she will be breaking down all things related to R&D credits. So if you've had any questions ever in your business about what R&D credits are, how do they work, do they apply to a company like mine, what do I have to do to get them, what kinds of expenses are even eligible to consider for it, can I do it myself, do I need someone else to do it? Any of these questions, if you ever wondered any of that, we're going to have an expert come on who eats, sleeps, and breathes R&D credits, and she's going to break it all down for you. So Tuesday morning is a session not to miss. Or, if you can come, we're going to take some Q&A. But look at that. Look at us getting fancy with banners and shit. So if you can come live, we're going to take questions. If you can't make it, be sure to watch it, because there's going to be some really valuable stuff in there. So Tuesday, 10 a.m. Central, August 31st, be there.
Be there.
All right.
That's awesome. That is it. I'll go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much.
Ciao.
Bye.